All right, we are live. I am covering the severe weather threat and also the winter weather and blizzard across much of the northern United States. I will start as soon as I get these lights on here. All right, so we have a tornado that just occurred near Long Creek and Mount Zion in Illinois that probably caused some damage, and we are seeing another tornado form as we speak. So let's get straight to the radar here. Um, Hello, how are you doing? I am doing quite well. Um, Let me just turn off some of my notifications here, then I could go to the radar. Let's just do that. All right, let's go over to the radar, and I will show you where we should watch out for some tornadoes and stuff today. Um, let's split that to be right here. Nope, that's not gonna work. Partial. There we go. And we're going to do that. All right, here's the radar. You can see right now we have a tornado warning just off to the east of Decatur in Illinois. Um, let's see if we have a debris ball there. Would be hard to tell where a tornado is, but if we had a tornado, it like might be somewhere over in this area right here. And the rotation strengthened again, which means we might have another tornado. If I go back a few scans, you can see we had a tightening rotation. We had a brief tornado over there, and it has recycled and may be producing another tornado as we speak. If I go back there, you can actually see a decent debris ball, even though it's small, and then it just gets a little messy there. But it appears that we may have another tornado on the ground right now. Um, there isn't really any correlation coefficient there, but I would watch that area for another tornado. Um, And we also have this area up here we have to watch near Clifton. Decent little area of rotation there. Um, I'm going to show where the 2% tornado risk is for today here. Um, you can see here is our 5% tornado risk. You can see the cells are just moving into this area, and you can see they're already producing tornadoes, which may not be a good sign for areas all the way down here. This may end up overperforming. You may even see a strong tornado or two today. Um, this event's already been pretty significant. We've already seen at least one tornado, and we'll continue to see more tornadoes soon. Um, let's see, do we have a CC drop on that? Not seeing anything, but still a tight area of rotation that we will have to watch as that continues to move off to the east. Let's go over some of our other warnings. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings here. You can see we have some damaging wind gusts along this line here. And then if we go up here, we have another area up here, and we have two areas of rotation up here. The significant one, and then this was not significant, but still something to watch. Um, so make sure you guys just share this with your friends and family so that I can get some more viewers and so that they can stay informed. Also up here in Minnesota, we are seeing some significant snowfall across these areas here where we are currently seeing blizzard conditions. Um, we are beginning to see some blizzard conditions develop across the northern peninsula of Michigan, the upper peninsula of Michigan, I mean. And we could see up to 2 feet of snow, you can see, and wind gusts up to 65 miles an hour. 1 to 2 feet of snow are expected in this area. And even up into areas into southern Ontario, I believe that is. Is that Ontario? I think it is. We could see up to 3 feet of snow in those areas, so make sure you are paying attention to the weather up there. We have a new tornado warning for Clifton and areas to the east of Clifton in Illinois for the area of rotation here that is quickly moving off to the east at 50 miles an hour. We aren't sure if there's a tornado on the ground, but there easily could be. Going back to this area down here, still an area of rotation, but not quite as significant as it was. Um, Overall, seems like we have at least a couple of cells here that could produce tornadoes. And we're going to go down here to see if this one is doing anything. Hard to tell here, but we have to watch these cells, especially here as they move towards this area, to see if they produce more tornadoes. Um, let's go back up to here. You can see decent area of rotation here. Um, there could be a tornado on the ground at any time, so make sure you are in your safe place if you're in Clifton, um, Tiffany, Martinton, Beaverville, and Papineau. Um, let's see. So across this brown area, we have a 5% tornado risk, and honestly, I'm surprised they didn't make it a little larger. We do have some probably more cells than expected down here, and if they can get in that good environment here, we could see more tornadoes than expected a little farther south. I'd also watch this area of rotation here for the potential of a tornado as it gets closer towards like Crescent City and Watseka to the north of those areas up here. Um, Anyways, let's go over our Storm Prediction Center outlook. Um, so looking at our Storm Prediction Center outlook here. Let's share my screen. So you can see here we have a slight risk of severe weather across eastern Illinois into much of Indiana here. We have a 5% tornado risk there, and our 2% tornado risk extends to western Kentucky, much of Indiana, northwestern Ohio, southern Michigan, much of Illinois there, where you can see an isolated tornado or two. We also have a 15% damaging wind risk here, where you can see some scattered damaging wind gusts from eastern Illinois into eastern Indiana there, and our 5% wind risk, extends all the way up to extreme northwestern Pennsylvania and to northeastern Arkansas. And our hair risk for today small 5% across a small area of northern Illinois, northern Indiana, southern Michigan, extreme northwestern Ohio. I'm surprised we even kept that because there's a very low chance we even see any hail after this morning's event. But let's go back to the radar here. Actually, wait a second. Let me just do something real quick, and then I will get the radar up here. So is this gonna load? There we go. Um, There we go. And then I just have to share that real quick. So if you've just tuned in, we are covering mainly the severe weather threat right now across Illinois, although we will also do some winter weather coverage as we have a significant winter storm ongoing across portions of the north central United States. Um, there we go. All right, now we can go to the radar here. Um, anyways, we still have that tornado warning up here. Although it seems that the area to the south of Clifton is becoming a more significant area of rotation here, I would watch that area for a long-term tornado threat if that can sustain. And going back down to our other tornado warning here. Um, let's see our area of rotation here. Has much weaker than it was. I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel this warning pretty soon. And looking at our other cells here, I would watch this cell over here. Definitely has some decent upper level rotation. And that's pretty much it for our tornado risk right now. I'm going to stay on this Clifton storm where we have a strong area of rotation, a tight area of rotation. There may be a tornado ongoing, a small tornado ongoing near Clifton, Illinois. Has a pretty strong velocity couplet there, although very tight and very small. I do think there's a good chance that there's at least a tornado going to form very soon. Not if a tornado on the ground right now, just to the east of Clifton, Illinois. So make sure in your safe spot because there could be a tornado on the ground right now, just to the east of Clifton. Um, so not seeing anything confirming that, but I will come back up the next scan here. Um, the northern area is pretty much dead at this point. There's really no rotation up there. And looking to the north, there's really nothing either. Um, if it stays as tight as it is on this next scan, then there'll probably be at least some indication of at least a little debris there. And the next scan has come in, and they do not see a debris ball. Um, so there's probably not a tornado right now, but there could be soon. But with how tight that is, there could easily be a tornado, even if there's no debris ball, or it could have just been a very brief tornado that just wasn't able to pick up enough debris. And you can see the air rotation is much weaker now. So that could have been a brief tornado just to the east of Clifton here in Illinois. Because you can see how that goes from very weak to very strong in just a few scans. Um, if you have just joined, we are covering the tornado threat and severe weather threat across eastern Illinois. We may have just had a tornado to the east of Clifton, Illinois. And just like 15-20 minutes ago, we had a tornado near Long Creek and Mount Zion in Illinois, and we are expecting more tornadoes and some more damaging wind gusts continuing over the next few hours. We also have a blizzard and winter storm ongoing in the north central United States here. You can see there's quite a few bands of snow here. And our blizzard conditions are starting up in the northern peninsula of Michigan here, and I won't be surprised if we already are having significant snowfall. You can see it's a pretty good divider between the snow and not snow. There's heavy snow in this area and basically no snow on this area. So, um, there could be some heavy snowfall ongoing, and there likely is, but nothing like it could be. We could see snowfall rates of over 2 inches an hour in those areas as we get into later tonight and to tomorrow morning. Um, Looking farther to the north, you can see generally just a lot of heavy snow here. Um, we even have some lighter snow up here, but if you're in these areas here, your blizzard conditions are mostly over already in these areas, although you're going to continue to get that light to moderate snowfall. Um, our winter storm is mainly moving off into this area here and will soon be in this area. So if you're in those areas there, across Wisconsin and Michigan, watch out for that heavy snowfall there. Um, Going back down here, let's look at our velocity. You can still see a strong velocity couplet, but not as strong as it was a few scans ago. Um, doesn't look like there's a tornado on the ground as of now, which is good news, but that could produce a tornado at any time. So if you're in Papua or Beaverville, Martinton, make sure to stay in your safe spot because there is a potential that this storm could produce a tornado, and it's a decent chance that it will produce a tornado somewhere within that area. Going back to the south here, um, you can see really no areas of rotation here. I don't know why we even have a tornado warning anymore because there's like no rotation in here. If we went to storm relative velocity, the only area of rotation it's like right here, and that's a very weak area of rotation. So I don't know why they put a tornado warning on that, but um, we'll check for any other areas of rotation up here. And overall, mainly just a few upper level rotations up here, but nothing too significant. Mainly just this one storm over here that's causing the main issues now. Um, oh, there's a debris ball. I believe that's a debris ball there. Um, we probably have a tornado on the ground just to the west at Papua New, Illinois, and that is a pretty significant debris ball for just a one scan difference. You can see last scan nothing. This scan is that's a big difference. So that tornado here. Let's go to velocity. You can see a tight velocity signature. Tornado on the ground just to the west of Papua New. Large tornado on the ground just to the west of Papua New here. Let me update my stream here. And yep, we're just going to edit here. Um, let's see, large tornado in Illinois. Illinois, I mean. No, I pronounced it like that. Let's go to the window here. Android cast. If you're just joining, we have a large tornado on the ground just to the west of Papua New, Illinois, near Sugarland, St. Anne, Illinois. So if you're in this area, you need to be in your shelter because there is a tornado on the ground, a large tornado on the ground in Illinois right now, causing damage. Um, there are quite a few roads here, so it's probably impacting some homes. Hopefully, everyone's in a safe place here because this is a large tornado. I won't say a strong tornado, but that's just obviously a decent tornado, and the debris signature is even more significant now. And there we go. We have a confirmed tornado near Papua New Illinois, causing potentially significant damage here. Um, you would think the tornado would be somewhere like here in this area, but no, it's on the back end of a supercell, which that does happen sometimes. Um, and it doesn't necessarily raise the reflectivity in the back end of a storm, which is also quite weird. But looking at our velocity, the velocity seems to be a little bit weaker. So the tornado may have been brief, but we still have the debris ball, so we have to assume the tornado was still on the ground here, even if the velocity seems weaker, even because we still have that debris ball here. Let's see. We have is that a mesoscale discussion? Um, let's see what the mesoscale discussion's about. Let's go to the Storm Prediction Center website here and look at our mesoscale discussion. Has it not loaded yet? Oh, let's see. Nope, that's not our current mesoscale discussion. So let's just go back to radar here. Um, and it seems that the debris is raining out, so the tornado likely has lifted. There are many safe spots up there because we could see another tornado form quickly. The storm has at least produced one tornado, possibly two tornadoes. So we've already seen two or three tornadoes today, and we are barely in our 5% tornado risk. So we could see even more tornadoes as we move off to the east. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Arthur, Arcola, Tuscola, and towns nearby. We do have an area of rotation here, and if that strengthens, that could produce more tornadoes. Um, these storms are already producing quite a few tornadoes, and we still have a lot of our tornado risk to go, like this much. So, I'd say we're only about a third, if even a third of the way for our tornado risk. So if you're Eastern Illinois, like Newton, Tuscola here, watch out for a tornado threat, and much of Indiana needs to watch out for that tornado threat as well. Um, we still have a decent air of rotation, not as strong, but that could easily spin up another brief tornado here. As it moves off to the east of St. Anne here, to the south of St. Anne, as it moves up towards Leesville and St. Anne Woods. So there you go. Actually, let's. All right. So, um, looking at our reflectivity, the reflectivity is decent. But the tornado has dissipated here. So we'll have to watch for the continuing tornado threat from that cell. And our other tornado warning down here has expired. So we believe it is no longer going to produce a tornado, which is reasonable because there's really no areas of rotation except like this weak upper level rotation here, which we will watch as it moves into Indiana, but nothing concerning as of now. Now this storm has a somewhat decent area of rotation, um, if that does tighten up, we could see more tornadoes from this storm here. Um, and I think we should be able to view our mesoscale discussion now. So I'm just going to go here. And then let's minimize that. And then we're going to do that and share my screen here. And now we should be able to look at our, nope, we don't want the outlook, we want the latest mesoscale discussion here, which we have a new mesoscale discussion across eastern Illinois and northwestern Indiana. The threat of tornadoes with embedded circulations will continue for long with occasional wind damage. You can see max tornado intensity 85 to 115 miles an hour, so that's high end EF0 to low end EF2. And our winds will be around 55 to 70 miles an hour, which is within the low end severe range there. See, we have quite a bit of, we have the long low level photographs with some curvature, but mainly the 200 to 300 meters square per second squared, some relativity. We'll have enough of everything go for a significant tornado outbreak, but we will continue to see the threat for a few embedded tornadoes here. And they believe that these cells down here will produce a more decent tornado threat as we move into this area. So if you're in southern Indiana here, southern Illinois, watch out for those supercells for a tornado threat within the next 1 to 2 hours there. But now we're going to go back to our radar here. You can see we have a tornado warning here. With a decent area of rotation. This has produced probably a couple tornadoes now. I would also watch this area of rotation near Martinton. If that strengthens, that could produce a tornado like the cells up here. These are mainly embedded. If we go down here, we do have one cell that can produce a tornado. We have a somewhat decent area of rotation. If that strengthens, that could also produce a tornado, although mainly just severe wind gusts as of now. Um, Looking for any tornadic cells here. We may be seeing the beginning of some more cells down there, but nothing concerning within the next 30 minutes, although long range 1 hour to 2 hours, even beyond that, they could produce some more tornadoes with the potential for a few tornadoes. I wouldn't rule out the potential for an isolated strong tornado today at those cells. We've already seen at least 2 or 3 tornadoes today, though. Nothing too significant, but mainly but still impactful tornadoes, obviously, because they've all hit some like homes and stuff, and um, not sure what's going on up here really. Just some debris fallout, it looks like. Um, this cell's starting to look a lot better here, but the air rotation's not super great. But if that can tighten up, I would watch that from a potential of a few tornadoes. If you have just joined my stream, make sure to like this stream and subscribe to my channel for more future live streams and weather forecasts. Also, share this live stream with your friends and family so that they can stay informed about the severe weather. And also, we have a winter storm ongoing up here with blizzard warnings. You can see most of our heavy snow is moving into Wisconsin now. You can see heavy snow across much of eastern Wisconsin, even into the upper peninsula of Michigan here. We have some heavy snow. Well, we actually have blizzard warnings up here in the upper peninsula of Michigan. where you could see 14 to 24 inches. That's 1 to 2 feet of snow, which will be historic snowfall. We can also see wind gusts up to 65 miles an hour, which will cause not only the historic snowfall, but the crazy blizzard. You do not want to be outside of that. Make sure you have everything you need if you live up there, because it's going to be a very significant, potentially historic snowfall event. Um, so if you're in any of these areas, just keep watching the official forecast. Southern Michigan here, mostly clear, but you will start to see some snowfall tomorrow morning, probably. We have a new tornado warning, including what is that? Pretty decent area in northeastern Illinois, northwestern Indiana here. We have multiple areas of rotation along this line. You can see here, 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 and here. Um, this one's the most significant. Now you watch this one as it travels to the northeast. Of all of these, if they strengthen, they can produce some tornadoes as they move up towards Morocco, Indiana here. So a few of those areas, watch out for those storms. You can see here, decent low area of rotation here. Um, Not as strong as it was earlier, but I would continue to watch that for the potential of tornadoes. We also have this cell down here. Um, the area of rotation is not strengthening much here. We also have this storm down here, which is also tornado possible. Not really seeing anything significant for tornadoes, but I watch down here. And we even have some cells down here that will try to produce some tornadoes in the long term. These will have the potential for a few tornadoes. Um, so, anyways, just watching all these storms here from the embedded cells all the way up here, all the way to the semi-discrete cells, all the way down here. Um, all these storms will have a potential to produce tornadoes if they get strong enough rotation. Today has a decent environment, mainly from our strong wind shear and our storm world of Felicity here. And we also have decently curved photographs. So we, if we had more significant conditions, we could see a very significant tornado outbreak. We'd be talking about 15% 30% tornado risk. But luckily, we don't have that today. Um, so we still do have a 5% tornado risk, and they will rule out an isolated strong tornado if a cell can get strong enough rotation and can stay discrete enough to the point where it doesn't get mergers like every 5 minutes. Um, Looking at this area of rotation up here, still decent, but not as significant as it was earlier, thankfully. All of these areas of rotation will at least try to produce tornadoes as they move off to the east towards Morocco, Sheldon, Shelby, Enos, Mount Ayr, Aid, Ad, Brook, Forsman areas there. So if you're in those areas, make sure you are on your safe spot because those areas of rotation are heading towards you and they can potentially produce tornadoes. Also, if you have any questions about this or anything in general that's appropriate for this stream, feel free to ask your questions in the chat below. I will try to answer as many questions as I can. So just feel free to ask questions about this and other stuff. Um, let's go back down here. Seems like this area of rotation might be a little tighter here. So if that continues to tighten up, we could see a tornado warning very soon for areas like Bourbon, Galton, Tuscola, Camargo, Hugo, Kemp, Painesboro, and Arcola here. Going back down here to this area near Windsor and Shelbyville, Crowden, Sullivan, and up to Arcola here. You can see we have a few areas where you can see a tornado here, little bumps here. Overall, nothing too significant, but I will still watch that for the potential of tornadoes. Um, those are really the only alerts we have out right now, other than this one. And that one, did that expire? I think we let these alerts expire because they're not as impressive as they were. Oh, wait, maybe it's just a glitch because all the severe weather alerts just disappeared. Never mind. Um, I would be surprised if they let these warnings expire, actually, at least this tornado warning, because you can see there's no decent areas of rotation anymore. So they'll probably let that expire or just cancel it within the next few minutes here. Um, Going back down to here, it seems our area of rotation is finally starting to get a little stronger here. So if that continues to ramp up, we'll likely see a tornado warning within the next 15 minutes if they had to say. Um, but nothing too significant here in terms of tornadoes yet. And you can see a few areas of rotation down here. Very weak, nothing too significant, but those still could produce tornadoes as we move up to the east here, towards the border. Going back up to the Morocco storm, no really significant areas of rotation anymore. They'll probably just either cancel the warning, which means the warning just basically stops, or they'll let the warning expire and downgrade it to radar indicated. Maybe even not. They might just let it expire as it is. And let's see, this expires in 24 minutes. So make sure you stay in your safe spot just in case a tornado does occur. But down here, we might have to watch the potential for a couple more tornadoes as this moves up towards the border here. This might be where we start seeing some more areas of rotation here. So if you're in that area, just make sure you stay weather aware. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning near Vandalia, Illinois. Um, this is also a tornado possible storm. Um, there we go. The warnings are glitching again. You can see that this isn't a great area, but this has the potential for some damaging wind gusts and possibly a tornado in the long term, although nothing too significant in the short term in the sense of a tornado threat. Um, but again, we are really far from really any radar here. Um, let's see how far away this radar is. That's over 75 miles away, so we will really not have a good look at this storm for a while. So unless it gets a strong upper level mesocyclone, we won't be able to tell if there's a tornado or not unless the storm chaser gets on the storm, which there are storm chasers out here. I just don't have them on because I don't want to accidentally click them because you can't just show them on your stream without permission. Um, Up here I think we're letting the warning expire. Um, might have an area of rotation or two down here, but overall nothing too significant. I think the areas of rotation that immediately prompted the warning, that initially prompted the warning, have been have mostly weakened out, and we are seeing a couple more areas of rotation starting to strengthen back up here. So make sure you stay in your safe spot because we could have more tornadoes within the next 15 to 30 minutes here. Um, Going back down here, um, seems like nope, that's not the proc they want. Seems like area of rotation isn't as strong as it was, which is good. so it may not have a tornado threat into the long term. However, I'd watch this area of rotation right here near Matton for the potential of a tornado from the next 30-45 minutes. Is a strengthening area of rotation within the line here, and that could easily produce a brace spin up tornado even if we don't have a CC drop on radar, which is a correlation coefficient drop, which basically tells you that there's debris that's not supposed to be there. Like it doesn't match up. Um, Looking back at our storm down here, you can see we still have the storm here, and we have even more cells forming to the south. Um, So we will have several supercells try to go through this area, but I think only a couple will become dominant and be able to produce more tornadoes. And I think the rest will really just die out here. It's not super favorable environment for today, but it's favorable enough for the potential of a few tornadoes here. If you have just joined the stream, make sure to like this stream and subscribe to my channel so that I know you guys like this stream and so that I know you guys want me to do more streams and weather forecasts in the future. Also, don't forget to share the stream with your friends and family so that they can stay informed on the weather. And also, don't forget to ask questions and just chat in the chat here. And I will try to answer as many questions as I can and stay involved in the conversations here. But going back up to here, we do have some heavy snowfall across portions of Wisconsin here into the upper peninsula of Michigan. So if you're in those areas, generally around here, you are having some heavy snowfall that will continue to spread east into eastern Michigan, further into eastern Wisconsin, and even eventually into the main peninsula of Michigan here. So make sure in those areas you are prepared because in the upper peninsula of Michigan we can see up to 2 feet of snow, not inches, feet. You can see here four, between 14 and 24 inches, and wind gusts as high as 65 miles an hour, which will create extreme historic blizzard and winter storm conditions. This will be a historic winter storm for some areas. Usually they do not see 1 to 2 feet of snow with one storm. Usually it's over the span of a few storms. So to see 1 or 2 feet from one storm is pretty crazy. Um, It seems that our air rotation near Mattoon has died out for the most part, so nothing significant to watch there. Mainly, I would continue to watch these areas up here. Um, no significant areas of rotation, although we still have this one left over, but that's not really anything more significant than the ones we have currently. Um, I'm gonna go for a minute. Don't leave the stream. I will be right back. Good. Mhm. Alright, I am back. We continue to have the tornado warning here. I'm surprised they haven't canceled it, but we have a new tornado warning to the south here, where we have more areas of rotation near Sheldon, Milford, um, probably at least 4 areas of rotation here. So if you're in those areas here, make sure you stay in you are in your safe spots, because we could see multiple tornadoes on the ground at the same time here. Um, we don't really have a great view of the southern area here. So if in these areas, you could have a tornado and we really wouldn't know it, because this is like the edge of the velocities on radar, and we really can't tell if there's anything going on there. So if you're in both areas, just assume there's a tornado on the ground and stay in your safe spot. And we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Hoopston and Rossville in Illinois. So make sure you stay indoors. Do not go outside here. Um, we continue to have the cell down here. It is near Valodia. Vandalia, in Illinois. So make sure you stay indoors, and there could be a tornado at some time with the storm in the future. Going back up here. Main area to watch. This big area of rotation here. Is that rotation? Yeah, that's rotation there, I believe. Yeah, that would be rotation. So make sure if you're in these areas here near Sheldon, Kentland, Goodland, Remington, Milford, Fowler, Boswell, Oxford, Otterbein, and Fountain Creek to stay in their safe spots here. In this area, it's more dangerous because we don't have a good look of radar. So if you're in these areas, in the southeastern areas of a polygon and southern areas of polygon, make sure you just assume there's a tornado on the ground, because there could be and we wouldn't know it, because the radar's velocities really don't go out that far. But if you are in this area, also be in your safe spots and assume there's a tornado, because these tornadoes can be brief and they can happen in between radar scans and still cause damage and fatalities. And they mostly go undetected until they do the damage surveys and find the tornado. And we continue to have this broad area of rotation here. If this tightens up in any spot, we could see a tornado near Kentland, Goodland, Remington areas, Fowler, and we have a view of the areas of rotation farther south. Doesn't seem like we really have anything to the south here, but continue to be in your safe spots anyways, because these areas of rotation can develop quite quickly and unexpectedly. We have seen that earlier where we had a tornado form rapidly near Clifton, Illinois. So do not let your guard down. We have already seen at least a couple, not a few tornadoes today. And we have a damage report from a tornado earlier near Mount Zion, Illinois, where we had a tornado track through that area. Looking at this report, it says multiple trees snapped. It likely wasn't a strong tornado, but there's still a decent signature on radar here. Looking farther down to the south, well, that's corrupted. If we were to measure these wind speeds right now, that would be 120 miles an hour. But guys, there are not 120-mile-an-hour winds here. This is just a radar glitch that happens sometimes. but wind speeds here are probably closer to 60, 65 miles an hour, maybe around 55 miles an hour at the low end. So you don't have to worry about these 100, 125 mile an hour wind gusts yet. Hopefully you don't have to worry about them ever, but next year you'll have the derechos and they could go through this area and have 120 mile an hour wind gusts for real. So, um, but that's just a radar glitch, and it seems that we don't have any really well-defined areas of rotation here, but continue to stay in your safe spot up here. Areas of rotation can develop rapidly. So make sure you assume there is a tornado on the ground at all times, even if there isn't. Um, Looking back up here, nothing very major should have changed. We continue to have heavy snow, continuing to spread farther east across the upper peninsula of Michigan. Soon we hope blizzard warning will have snow, so make sure you are in make sure you do not go outside in this kind of weather because it's going to be up to 2 inches of snow an hour, maybe a little more, and you will see blizzard conditions for 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts and up to 1 to 2 feet of snow in across these areas is expected. So you do not want to be outside in that, obviously. But going back down to here, um, mainly just the same stuff. We do have a tornado warning now for areas farther to the east. A few areas of rotation have redeveloped here, mainly these ones here. So I would watch these areas of rotation for a tornado threat within the short term, 30 minutes to 15 minutes here, for the potential for brief tornadoes. I'm going to go fill my water bottle quick. I will be right back. All right, I am back. Um, Let me just get my microphone reattached here. Um, so it seems your areas of rotation may have weakened a little bit, but continue to be in your safe spot. These could strengthen and produce brief tornadoes at any time here. Um, Going farther to the south, our velocities are still corrupted, so that's not very good. We do have some new severe thunderstorm warnings down here across east central Illinois near Hoopeston, Danville, Covington, Attica. Um, There's really no good radar for this area right now. So let's go to storm relative velocity, maybe. But that's not any help because that's even worse. Um, if you have just joined, we are doing some mostly severe weather coverage as we have several areas that could produce tornadoes across western Indiana into eastern Illinois. We have some more cells popping up down here, which could bring a tornado threat with them as well. Um, let's see. Uh, any major changes? Not really here. This area of rotation seems to be becoming somewhat more dominant, and maybe this southern area of rotation will become dominant. Those two I would watch for the tornado threat in the long term. Short term tornado threat should be limited. They are not very strong, but again, these can rapidly develop as we saw earlier. So do not let your guard down, even though they are producing tornadoes now. They could produce tornadoes in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and maybe even sooner. So do not let your guard down with these, because these can quickly strengthen and produce tornadoes and then rapidly weaken again. And they can do that multiple times over and over. Looking at our velocities here, um, you can see not seeing a ton of rotation, although we are quite far from our radar, so we're not really gonna see that unless it's a stronger upper level mesocyclone. We continue to have our contaminated velocities down here, so we really can't tell anything from that. But um, we will continue to watch these areas up here for the potential for tornadoes. Um, we have our latest velocity scan in here, and this area of rotation becomes more interesting here. This area I would also watch. Everything else in between, mainly just weak areas of rotation or broad areas of rotation. Nothing too concerning in the short term. I would mainly watch these two areas of rotation in the somewhat short term, like up the next 30 minutes. I don't think we're gonna produce tornadoes within like the next 15 minutes, definitely. But beyond that, up to 30, 45 minutes, I do think there's a decent chance we'll at least see one or two more tornadoes, brief tornadoes from these areas of rotation here. So if you're in these areas, all the way towards Meteorville and Francisville, North Judson, Monin, I would be waiting to get to your safe place, but make sure you are prepared to be in your safe place. We already have a severe thunderstorm warning out there, so make sure you are already indoors. Even though the severe thunderstorms have not hit, it's better to be prepared now than to be unprepared when they actually hit. Um, Going back to our severe storms near Danville and Rossville in Illinois, um, I think this is probably an area of rotation we will have to watch down here. Um, that would make sense. And going back to down here, do we still have contaminated velocities? Yes, we do. Alright, we are just over 1 hour into our stream. We have 5 active viewers and 6 likes. If you have not already, please like this stream and subscribe to my channel for more future streams and weather forecasts, and so that YouTube will push this live stream out to more people. Also, don't forget to share this live stream with your friends and family, especially those in the impacted areas, so that they can stay informed. And also, don't feel don't feel free feel free to chat in the stream and ask appropriate questions. I will try to answer as many questions as I can if you guys give me some questions in the chat here. So don't forget to do that if you want to. Um, Looking back down here, our tornado warning has been condensed. Main area of rotation, not seeing any strong areas of rotation, which is good, but still be in your safe spots there. There could still be a tornado on the ground, even if it doesn't look impressive on radar. We don't have the correlation coefficient drop. There could still be a brief tornado because they can occur between radar scans, and they are only found once they do the actual surveys, or if a storm chaser is next to the tornado and actually sees it. Um, Still have contaminated velocities down here. Looking at our Danville, Covington, Rossville tornado warning, or severe thunderstorm warning, I mean. Um, Mainly watch this area here. That is the strongest area of rotation I can find in this line right now, although it's not super strong. Mainly just watch these areas of rotation up here too. But much farther to the north of that, not much. And now we are about halfway through our 5% tornado risk. We still have this whole area to traverse. So if you're in those areas, keep watching this risk of severe weather. And make sure you have multiple ways to stay informed in case a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning does occur in your area. Um, Yeah, not seeing anything too significant for rotation though right now, which is good. Continue to watch that though. Oh, I didn't mean to zoom out that far. Looking at our storm down here. Um, Looking more linear now. I won't be too concerned about the tornado threat anymore with these, but they can still produce a brief tornado or two like we have seen up in our line in northern Illinois, northeastern Illinois, was moving into northern Indiana now. Um, Going back up to our winter weather up here, our snow is it's continuing to spread east across Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We now have snow all the way out here in these areas here, actually up to here mainly. So those areas are having some heavy snowfall right now across these areas, mainly in these areas out here. So if you have those areas, make sure you continue to watch the snowfall. We're expecting 1 to 2 feet of snow in these areas, along with 65 mile an hour wind gusts potentially, especially near Lake Superior here. So if you're in those areas, make sure you stay updated on this. Um, Going back down to our severe weather threat. Um, Not seeing anything too significant for tornadoes right now. Um, Going back to this storm here. Still not seeing anything too significant for rotation, but that can always change quickly as we've seen with our storms today. Um, might have to watch this area for maybe a brief tornado or an area of stronger wind gusts here. Generally around 65 to 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts in that area. Winds recorded in that area by radar. Um, Not seeing anything too significant for rotation though. Um, Not seeing much for rotation either down here. Um, and it doesn't seem like we have much up here either, even though we do have those tornado warnings. So if nothing major changes on this next scan, I might go ahead and end the stream. Um, yeah, nothing major has changed, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and end the stream. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.